Chronos cannot be ignored as easily as the other bosses. His gimmicks come off as strong, and everything that he does is to put a stop to your crusade. Chronos on his own is fine, but there's one attack that sets him apart from the rest of the crowd, and that's his clock math. So many people have gotten stumped over his clock math, and I am going to be the one to teach you how to get over this hurdle. Chronos himself can get stronger the more stars are played on the difficulty, as with every other boss. But with Chronos, his clock math attack actually gets upgraded each star, with the second star adding 2 clock math, meaning you have to add the sum of 2 clocks together to get your final answer. The third star being a ditto of the previous, but this time with 3 clocks. More addition, but you get more time. Some of you fools don't even know how to put clocks together, but it's alright. I'll take it easy on you. It's a pretty simple process. When adding clocks together, you have to think of each notch on the clock as a minute. A clock can go up to 12 and resets back to 1, and each line on the clock represents a time, and you must ignore the hour hand as it's irrelevant to what we're trying to do when answering these questions. For example, if an arrow is pointing all the way to the right, then it would be 3 o'clock, which means it would just be 3 when converted to a normal number. You can use this logic with each section of the clock to get any number. If you are struggling with the problems in the middle of the fighting, you can also use a calculator to help yourself punch the numbers quickly. You must use mass addition to add all the clocks together, and the way you're going to do this is you're going to end up with all the numbers of the clocks mashed together. But you might ask, Onyx, how do you even do that if a clock only goes up to 12? Well, it's pretty simple. Let's say, for example, you have an equation that the clock is saying 9, 7, and 3. So, you easily add 9 plus 7 plus 3, and the number you'll end up with is 19. But, again, 19 is a number larger than 12. So, how do you get that to solve? Well, you do 19 subtracted by 12, which then it's no longer an overflow number. Then you get 7 as your final answer. One rule of thumb, though, is that if Chronos is displaying a clock that is just 12, you can also just choose to ignore it, and you would still get your final answer. For example, let's say we get an equation that's 6 plus 12 plus 5. When normally you add it together, you would get 23. And then you subtract it by 12, and then you would get 11, which is still the right answer. But if you choose to ignore the clock, it'll shorten the time you need to answer the question, and you would just have to do 6 plus 5, and you still get 11, which saves precious time on answering the question and keeps you alive in the fight. Either way, both forms of doing it are still just as good as long as you can keep up with the pace of Chronos and not fall behind on his questions.